Welcome to Hack the Planet, Blue Oolong, session 3 of 4. We're just doing some housekeeping. The crew advanced last session, and they're choosing their advancement, which they could not do before because the sheet has been revised, as it always is. It's changed completely. No, I'm just kidding, only slightly. And so everybody took their stash. Aaron will join us when he can. He's dealing with some house stuff. And because of their actions previously with stealing away the turf, which I proclaimed to be the mechanic, especially with a 4-session hit of blades, let's just go all out and be fun. And so now you're at war, though, because you were at -2 with them. Then you took away their mechanic, and you've been fucking with them every day, basically. So, yeah, bad things will happen with that. But you're, as in the system, you are aware that you are at war, and we're just entering downtime, so maybe you can do something about that. One thing that was pointed out to me, and I like a lot in the changes from 1.5 to 8.2 is gathering information isn't a downtime action. It's a free play action. So you guys can actually take your 1 cred back, because remember I told you to spend it to do the extra action to gather information on the mechanic and stuff. Instead, that was just a normal action, and you got information and you did the thing. So choose your ability or crew upgrade stuff, and then we'll do normal downtime procedures.
All right. You guys have thoughts on what you want for the crew upgrade? Is branded what we want to go with, or is there something else that's sticking out to everybody?
It's
I don't
probably
care.
not the most practical choice, but I totally think we should do it anyway.
I'm flexible. I don't mind.
If we're into it, I'm cool with it. If we want to do it.
Poor Aaron's gonna come back and it's like, hey man, we've got tats and piercings and we're like things improving. Yeah.
We just tattooed like J5's face while he was asleep.
Or whatever Aaron comes back is when you like slap him awake in the fiction. Like, so we all did this thing and you're the only one without it. So,
yeah.
I don't know how well you handle tattoos, but here's a little piece of wood if you need it. Or what is it? Is it a tattoo?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Is it a tattoo, piercing, some other thing?
Laser eyes.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Lauren? Do you have cool any cool branding? I like the like branding, like it's our gang brand. So we're like on point marketing.
Yeah.
Advertisements.
Yeah, because it is kind of like that with gangs, like they do have their brand, It's got to protect the brand sort of thing.
Yep. And just so the audience is aware, branded says everyone in the crew has a tattoo, piercing, or some other kind of discernible marking. Each PC may add +1 action rating to command, consort, or sway up to a max rating of 3.
I'm leaning towards face tattoos. What are you leaning towards?
Face.
I wonder how we would talk Silver. Silver would probably be reluctant to get like such a discernible mark on her face, right?
The look that she would give you if you suggested that, yeah. Man.
This is what my character looked like in that Biopunk one where I played the denotation that like my denotation I don't know what they did, but like they like hacked their exterior body to look like fake and plastic and stuff, and I ended up making synthwaves like a subversive icon. So I had that kind of like face tattoo neon shit going down.
I wonder maybe if some sort of like, okay, so we try to get Silver to tattoo her face, and she's very reluctant. Maybe some sort of like hand, you know, like a tattooed ring or something. Because I think part of it is that it's like it's tough, but it also can be a weakness, I guess, because people, you know, like if we're getting patted down and they look at your hand or take your glove off or something, you've got this like mark that you're obviously like in the gang or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like in Jupiter Ascending, they get like the wedding ring tattoos, right?
What about a blue hand? Like a totally tattooed hand. It's striking. You've got to admit it's striking, Silver.
Yeah. No, I think it's one of those things that in the fiction Silver would be like super pissed off about the idea, but then eventually go along with it. So I mean, if that's what you guys want to do, it's totally cool.
Why does she go along with it?
I think she eventually goes along with it because she thinks that this group is like, I mean, the idea of is like abhorrent to her, but this group is her vehicle for building power and eventually getting what she wants. So she's willing to make sacrifices to do that, you know. And I have to imagine in a cyberpunk future like this isn't like completely irreversible. I have to imagine that like,
just get
she's looking at it as like, okay, yes, I mean I'm all in this group, but I'll probably get rid of this thing at some point.
Nice.
Could we perhaps, I wonder if it's something like could be something in the fiction that like legit established gangs like have something like this. Like I like that idea. Do you know what I mean? Like it's part of the politics and interacting with other gangs that you should have some sort of like insignia or, you know, like branding or whatever. Like that could be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Lauren? Do face tattoos? Fully tattooed blue hands.
I'm so torn because I love the like I love the fact that you can't hide it, but then I'm such a sucker for like those scenes and shows and shit, whatever, where it's like, hey man, no, I'm you too. Like you pull down your like shirt to show off like the mark kind of thing.
Or those gang tattoos that are like inside the
like your lip.
Yeah.
Or what if these are tattoos that kind of like light up neon when we want them to? Like they're not like maybe super obvious, but when we want to get benefit from them, we could do that. I mean, then again, I don't know if that's like if that's gaming the system too much and we don't have the drawbacks from it. That probably doesn't work. That's probably not fair. Yeah. I don't know.
I love the idea.
I feel like I'm actually like getting a tattoo with all of this thinking about it.
Well, first and foremost, it's like a special ability for the crew. So mostly it's about, I would say, decide on what you want it to actually increase for your action rating and stem it from there, maybe. Like, do you want it to be something commanding, consorting, or swaying, right?
Yeah.
I could see the consort being the that Lou was talking about, where it gets you into specific circles and stuff, right?
That makes sense. Yeah.
But
or it could just be an intimidation thing for sway or command if we went that direction. But yeah, I like consort. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, and it even kind of makes sense if we had a blue hand, right? Like for when you're meeting with other, like even if you wore gloves, it would be like the you know, when you're like shaking hands or like doing like fist bumping on the way into places, they're like, ooh, blue hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the name of your crew, the Blue Head?
I was kind of angling towards it, yeah.
I dig too if it's like it's blue, but then it's like as it goes up your hand, it's like it I don't know the word for it. It like doesn't fade, but it sort of like gets to a point where it breaks up a bit, and it looks a bit like oolong leaves, you know, like
kind of like a gradient into like lighter color and then leaves or something.
Yeah.
What?
I dig that.
Yeah, and like think of it like we're going retro futurists, so think like the technology available in Gibson novels, where it's like it's futuristic, but some things they got wrong, and technology has developed in such a way that it's specifically for oh hey Aaron. It's specifically the technology hasn't gone the same way because they've been dealing with climate changes and stuff like that instead, right? It's not gone towards massive entertainment and media and stuff because they've been dealing with other shit going on.
Aaron.
Yeah. So
we're getting
Aaron,
tattoos.
yeah.
we're all getting tattoos.
It's happening.
As a crew special ability, we talked Silver into it, so you should be easy to sway.
Yeah. And so yeah, like you could totally have a tattoo that is, you know, transparent, that turns blue when you want it to, or against certain specific like different conditions and stuff like that. But I would say whatever those conditions are, then yeah, like I don't think it's not I didn't intend for it to be like a double-edged sword where I'm like, I'm gonna fuck you later, that's for sure.
I'm just so used to everything being a double-edged sword.
Not with special abilities. Special abilities are good things.
Yeah, then I dig the idea of it being something that we can kind of turn on and off, because I imagine like, you know, the if we're using it like for consort or something like that, you know, like the scene in the TV or movie version would be like our hands reaching together and one person's hand turns blue as they're, you know, right as they're going in for the shake, and it's just kind of like our signature, you know. It's
gonna be so awesome for team celebrations when we all like punch our hands in the middle and
high five. Okay, well, I'm into it.
And the neat thing is too is that it's not that weird to get it, because if you think of like China and Japan, where cherry blossoms fill the air, instead it's more like whatchamacallit, the sage leaves, which are fairly blue, not as blue as what you guys are going for. It's like a light blue generally. So, you know, it's not that crazy that people would have blue things. It permeates the certain districts and stuff. Probably not yours, because you're living in like the worst one pretty much. But when you go out on the town and stuff like that, and from time to time, I'm sure if you look up, you can see the blossoms of these leaves coming down and stuff. So
I like that then it kind of has like layers of meaning. It has like, you know, people can see the blue and not necessarily be like, oh, that person's from the blue oolong, but we know it has that extra layer of meaning. It's like, yeah, this is who we are, you know. So that's cool.
And I like it too, because the main thing with this, which will be reiterated more in the cruise and stuff when I'm done with them, but the main thing going on with Shelter 1 is it's a massive city of climate refugees, and part of the shitty thing about it is that everyone is kind of losing their culture there in this sort of format, right? Like people are trying to keep it alive in any way that they can. Just like Lauren was saying, people will cook a lot with each other to try to keep that going. But there's some definite both culture shock with all these people shoved together trying to express themselves, but also a little bit of erasure happening as corporations are trying to make everybody on the same page and also restrict everybody's access to information, so that, you know, if you're like, I'm from Iran, like I was saying before, people don't know what that means. And you'll notice on your character sheets too that if you look for your heritage now, it actually says root instead of heritage, and that's just a slang term that people use in the city to understand where you've come from, instead of heritage, because that didn't really sum up exactly what was going on there. And then the look, I think, will be the thing that encompasses that, and the XP trigger will be tied to that somehow, with your look being your presentation as well as your skin color and perhaps where you've come from, and you can express that still to get XP. But there's not like specific allegories for countries that no longer exist basically anymore. And another change is that I decided that everybody has nanobots in their blood, basically. So the corporations, essentially, to get access to Shelter One, you have to be submitted to be viralized with these nanobots, and so that the thing is that they know that you, yeah, the fucking Jedi, yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, basically the corporations use it as a guise to be like, oh, well, we need to know that you're not sick, and we'll use it to regulate your needs and X propaganda things about it, right? And it also helps the tracers out a lot too. If they're looking for people, then everybody's connected.
Is this a little bit like your hack of like the what are the crows and what's that faction called in Duskfall, the Spirit Wardens, like in terms of, you know, like it's kind of magic in that like they know when somebody's died or a certain thing like that has gone on automatically. I guess this is kind of the cyberpunk like magic of them having extra like control, awareness. Yeah.
And also for me to like it also is a thing where if you're killing people and stuff, they're aware of it, just like in Blades in the Dark, right? I'm replicating the same sort of systems of oppression that are reiterated in the mechanics.
And that tension, yeah. That's cool.
And so, but what is specifically different about you people? Like what makes it, you're not just the people who are like, I'm not going to go work at like a wind-up factory or something like that, right? Instead, you are people who are called altered, which is because you've reprogrammed the nanobots to send specific information out, and not all of it that they're wanting. So you've modified yourselves, and all of the underground people are like that. I'm looking for a word that fits maybe better than altered. It's kind of hard to find one that is like a pejorative that is not either too dismissive or too over the top for like modified, you know, like reprogrammed, modified. I like altered, but yeah, and mods mean different things in the setting already because there's the rangers that Ash is going to be writing who augment themselves with different modifications and stuff. So I still like altered, but I'd like it to have like a little bit more sort of badass mercenary-ish thing going on. But yeah, but it might be a thing that you hear on the streets where like the people that are your neighbors and stuff like that would be like, oh, I was thinking about the hacked as well, but I don't know if that's too like on the nose exactly. Oh, those people are hacked. I kind of like them being like, oh, the altered or whatever, right? Like spit in the streets. The altered. But yeah, so as a reminder for the setting too, because it's been like 2 weeks since we played, outside of your shop, picture it like an actual district that's packed full of climate refugees, right? Like the housing is more than just row housing. People have used their ingenuity to create like additional housing on top of what was created initially. And there's a pastiche of many different cultures and different smells. We got a little taste of that a little bit with Aaron describing the street, the shop across the way that was selling like synthetic honey, I think it was, right? So there's different priorities and different things going on. But I imagine that another thing that the nanobots do is help you heal. That's sort of like the med tech of the world. But the problem is that once the nanobots have to work very hard and they essentially need like a recharge, which you'll notice is one of your items now. So you can go on a job and you have a recharge that takes up 2 slots. So you can charge them up again and start healing so that you don't go into like death basically and they can't repair you. Or you can, have the things that you need. So it's still as deadly as Blades in the Dark was, basically, but we come at it from a technological standpoint instead. And yeah, the streets are like Blade Runner, so it's either like raining or, you know, dirty or grimy for one way or another, whereas where in the nicer districts we get to like the minimalistic style of Blade Runner 2049, where it's all like minimalism and clean lines and nice structures. And obviously housing is like a lot more better. And that's when you'll start seeing a lot of those sage blossoms and stuff like that falling down, which in a shot of on the camera, I imagine that they are not exactly like the leaves that we know today for the plant, because they've been gene hacked to survive even better and flourish. And probably even like the ones now, I can't remember, I think they produce like 3 stems or something, and these ones might be hacked to produce like double that sometimes or something. And maybe the blossoms or the petals actually look more like blossoms than petals, so everybody knows that they're messed up and hacked and stuff like that. So yeah, everyone's on board with the tattoos, though. I think, Aaron, you were wondering if A, you were a Jedi at some point, and 2, or B, I should say, that you're getting different colored tattoos as well.
Yeah, but then I got the blue oolong thing. I was wondering if I was going to be Donatello here, and I could be like purple and then like gadget guy. But
yeah,
I'm down with the blue oolong.
Okay. I was thinking Voltron as well, and we all have our
right,
or Captain Planet.
Right. And Aaron, were you here when I said that you guys are at war with constructed chaos as well?
Bring it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Guys... I think maybe one other thing you weren't here for is, so did you see that the reason we're getting the tattoos is it's a new like gang like playbook upgrade thing that we chose, and so essentially it's these tattoos are going, was it Consort that we chose as
I think you chose
power?
Consort.
Yeah, so essentially these tattoos are going to help us move in and out of like those sort of social situations, I guess, with other like gangs and stuff like that. That's kind of what we were thinking. Yeah,
cool. I love it.
Yeah, well, I think it could be. Yeah, so I wonder, it's sort of framed like you could do either one, which I think is interesting, but it is kind of cooler if it's the same benefit for everybody, I think, right? Since it's a crew thing. So I might change the language a little bit to make it like everyone marks one specific thing instead of everyone chooses one thing that it helps them with. Especially, it would decrease the amount of gaming of it, I think, perhaps. But
so you want it to be something that we all agree on, the same thing, as opposed to being like everybody can choose which they want to apply it to?
I think so. Hey, yeah.
I reckon it also helps to like insert it into the fiction more strongly if it's like we're getting this and this is the effect of it. Like, I reckon.
Yeah. I also can see like the reasoning, like, you know, people using it in different ways, right? If someone comes at a social situation and like, you know, just, you know, handles it in a very kind and you know, conciliatory kind of way or something like that, versus someone coming in and like, you know, just putting their hand in someone's face and, you know, a gun in the other hand to his head. You know, I can imagine it being used in multiple ways by different kinds of characters. But if you want to like, you know, narrow it down, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I'll think on it. For now, you guys can just mark whatever way that you want to leverage it in the fiction. And I could also imagine that the brand or the tattoo, whatever people choose in the future, might be subtly different with everybody to do specific different things as well, right? Yeah. Especially like if people choose piercings, they could just get like specific piercings, but on different parts of them that do different things. So yeah, we'll leave it. That's fine. Mark, but everybody, Aaron, you can mark a command, consort, or sway action to reflect that tattoo. And then we can do downtime. Also, Aaron, you weren't here for this either, but I said that you guys can replenish the cred that you spent to gather information on that guy, because one of the changes from when I last played to now is that gathering information is just a free play action and not actually a downtime one. So you wouldn't have to spend one to do it again, which makes, I mean, based on the stuttery weirdness that we experienced, that's probably why that was changed that way. So
can I ask a structural question? I've never played Blades before, so last session we spent essentially the entire session on downtime. Is that was that because I was fucking shit up because I wanted like a radio station, or is that because like that's a part of the game and downtime is just a part of like the management?
You can make each of them as fast or as quickly, or as slow or as fast as you would like. So nobody was doing anything wrong. You could linger on the score a lot longer than we did, because we did downtime and a score that was quite quick at the end. And sometimes it will be the inverse. The score will be like an entire job, and then downtime will be, or a score will be an entire session, and downtime will be just really quick and stuff like that. It just depends on, it just depends where people want to spend time in the scenes. I'm good with either or. They're meant to be like substantial things in the fiction for everybody.
We also debriefed about that a little bit after you left last time, Aaron, and we were I know it was actually a rose for a few people that we spent so long on the like downtime, because when some people run Blades, they rush through the downtime and get straight back into the scores, and it's like can often, I think it's easier to do cool character development stuff in some ways in the downtime. So I liked that we took so long doing it.
Yeah, and I think that we still have a lot more to discover about your characters, right? Like this, make no mistake, even though you guys are kind of rolling these people at the moment, this place is like dangerous and you are badass people. We saw a little bit of that, right, with a couple of you guys strong arming the person who was just looking to deliver a message. But now you're all at wars, and remember that you have the mechanic and the family members to protect now as well, right? So yeah, it's hard out there for whatever we end up calling you people, the altered, the modded, the hacked, the freaks. So yeah, let's see. After the score, we'll do rep and coin. 2 rep per score by default. Are they a higher tier than you? Yes, so take 3 rep. And also you're at war with them, so -3 faction status.
So I'm adding three rep to us right now. Is that what you're saying, or?
Yeah, 3 rep.
Okay. I guess I'm not sure how rep works here. We're at 4 rep. 3 will put us 1 over. What? Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how to put this into the sheet here. Do we want to do we? Does it just kind of keep going? You see how some of them are blacked out. The first like 5 of them are blacked out, and the next 5 are gray. On those rep boxes.
Oh, let me
on the
see.
sheet. And I'm just not sure what the difference between the two is. Like if something happens when we tick over to the gray, or.
Oh, the other ones are turf that you can develop.
Gotcha.
And then when you do that, it can count. It like infringes on how much rep you need to advance. So it's kind of like, it's a gray area. So I guess
gotcha.
That's
so, and we got turf, right? We got 1 turf, so I need to add that.
Yeah. Well, you didn't get. Oh yeah. Sorry, you got turf. Yeah, we named the mechanic a turf person. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So yeah, if you get more turf, it just means that it's more quickly for you to roll over your rep.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So then we are currently at 7 rep, and we only need 4 more to roll over.
Cool. And so you also get cred for each operation that you do. So I wonder, I think it'll be a minor job for sure. So 2 cred, and I think the actual cred that you get from it is maybe just like the money that the mechanic brings in. Like I think he grabs you arrange it so that he like is leaving basically on like payday, right? So he leaves, he's not fixing the cycles properly, right? So at least some of them are not operational. And then, as soon as they discover that he's gone, the family's gone, they're probably going to be like, wait a minute. And y'all met in a bar too, so I'm guessing that it was a little public. And so, yeah, take 2 cred. And you can spend tithe, I guess, to satiate them in the future. For now, I don't think that you're going to be spending any cred on them. So heat, smooth and quiet, low exposure, contained, standard exposure, loud and chaotic, wild. I think you're either 0 or 2 heat on that one. I think that it was probably low exposure. I don't think they expected you to grift their mechanic over. And although there is some exposure, I think, because of it being in just like a public place where when they come and inquire, I don't think anyone's going to be like, oh, don't tell them that clearly they were having a moment in the back stall there or whatever. But I think that will come with the add +1 heat for high profile or well connected target, add +1 heat if the situation has happened on hostile turf, and it did. So it'll just be +1 heat.
So how many total heat from that are you saying? Is it just the 1 or
just 1?
2 or 3? Okay.
Yeah, and then it says add +1 heat if you're at war with another faction as well, but that will be next time. When that happened, you weren't, right?
Right.
And you didn't kill anybody, so you don't get +2. So that's good. And we don't need to do incarceration. How much heat are you guys at then?
That's only currently 1. I think we dropped it down with downtime activities last time.
Yeah,
so now
I did that. I did that screwing with the infrastructure thing to get the traces.
All right. Y'all are sneaky. Okay, let me roll entanglements, but I think for the sake of the episode, I know what I want the entanglement to be anyway. So maybe I'll just use some GM prerogative and choose exactly what I want on that. And that will be in the form of, so let's fast forward time just a little bit. Like we'll say all this happens, Friday, the equivalent rolls around, he gets his cred, they make their way to you. And remind me what your chosen stuff for your crew is. Are you guys hidden and secure and stuff like that? What are your options?
Let's see. We are secure. We have quarters. And does not say hidden though.
Okay, yeah, which kind of makes sense because you guys had alluded that you were like on a street, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think, let me just pull up my document here. There we go. So the same, so Jocasta walks in with the same woman that you saw before. I can't remember. I've changed the names in some of the factions a little bit. Did you guys meet Jocasta before? Or did you meet Lilu or Tamar? Do you recall?
The first name's ringing more of a bell.
Okay.
The Jocasta one, yeah.
Okay, so instead, the new person will be Tamar, and Jocasta also comes in.
I think we did meet Tamar because I have them listed on my characters that we met from Constructed Chaos. Is Tamar the person that came to visit us that we?
Yeah, that we bullied. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. So Tamar, the woman that you bullied, walks in, but also with another person, Jocasta, and you guys live on the same block. So I think that you know her anyway. The thing that marks her, let me copy this in chat here, pull it up. She doesn't look exactly like this picture, but it's pretty similar. So the thing that you notice about her that clearly defines her is like her color scheme. She's wearing it's like urban wear, right? And with like a hoodie and like athletic wear with these customized cool sneaker type things. And her color scheme though is quite different than everybody else. It's got like this weird blues and greens and purples and stuff going on. And she's well known in the neighborhood, and probably her bike as well has the same colors. And you know that she's the one that runs Constructed Chaos. Oh, what are you saying, Chang? Oh, it doesn't work for you? You can't see it? Oh, okay. Let me try putting it in here. Can you click it on there and it works?
I just spam refreshed it a bunch of times and then it worked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that new one worked.
Okay, cool. So it's not entirely like that, but the basic urban wear that I described, as well as like the color pattern, is correct. In the picture, she looks kind of like pretty young, and the urban wear looks like reflective of her age. I think that she's like a little bit older and still carries herself quite well. The things that you would know about her is that she is known for being hard and ferocious on the streets. So, yeah, she comes in. So we get, I guess, the typical, or what is becoming typical of this movie TV show is like the ding dong, right, of somebody entering the blue Oolong again. These two people come in, and instead of like the pretenses that Tamar had before, where she was like looking around at the product and kind of being casual about things, is gone. There's like a charged energy in the room, right? Like if this was Apocalypse World, it would be like read a charged situation. And outside, I think there's only one bike, which probably seems strange, but you guys know why there's only one bike. It's probably because the other ones are fucked up, right? Or at least Tamar's is, for sure. We know that. But Jocasta's would have been the first one to get repaired. And so we see on the cycle, it's got like this like almost hydraulic look to it with the same color scheme and streaks to it, the blues and purples and stuff like that. But I think there's like maybe like a blue and purplish panther that is the emblem on the side that's going, and it's ferocious, quote unquote. And yeah, so what do you do? Who's there? What's going on, you think, at the Blue Oolong? I imagine that you probably have those people squirreled away or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think when like we turn around, when we hear the chime, I reckon Haboob is like just finishing pulling the rug over the trapdoor that leads like down to our quarters and stuff, and the family's probably down in there.
Right. I think Jocasta puts down her like not rag, but piece of fabric that's covering up to her nose. And you notice that she has like brilliantly green eyes, which is probably like a modification that she's had done to look more intimidating or whatever, and they kind of like flare up a little bit as the piece goes down. And I think VD notices this and sort of like backs off and scurries and sort of like calls out like whatever kind of code word or whatever that you probably have established something where it's like if she needs help with a customer, but yeah, tea's ready, something like that.
I was going to say maybe it's coffee's ready and we don't serve coffee.
Oh, yeah. That's it. And I think normally she would say coffee's ready and stay, but instead she's sort of like retreated a little bit because of the charged atmosphere. And I think like it is sort of feeling like the scene in The Godfather on the street, right? Where you're like, oh, something's gonna happen probably. So yeah. What happens? Where are you all? How do you react when you hear coffee's ready?
Habib's like getting her weapons ready.
Like in the room?
In the back room. No, I think she's in the back room, like the kind of meeting room thing.
Oh, so yeah. Is it that room that was clearly visible from?
Yeah, that's through the curtain. Yeah, gotcha. I picture it as a bead curtain, so I think she can kind of see what's going on, and she's just being. I don't think she's gonna. I think she'll just hang back while someone more qualified, like does diplomacy.
Right.
So our base is secure, right? Have we determined what is secure about our base?
I don't know. Have you guys? What is it?
Maybe it's some kind of. I'm thinking of that scene in Altered Carbon where he goes into the Edgar Allan Poe Hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The turret.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it's perhaps less technologically advanced, but I think that Bergen like ascends a spiral staircase and like drops down into a turret and then like descends from the ceiling or something like that.
Okay.
I haven't descended, but I have like underneath is like what looks like a lighting fixture from below, and so it illuminates the scene. But that's how we have. That's one of our secured things. Maybe it's automated, but like it works better if it's handled by a human.
Human.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you're ready to pop out, basically?
Yeah, I'm just scurrying up there and sort of like.
Okay. And I think before we also said that you had some sort of surveillance and stuff set up as well. So I think wherever you people are, especially with who you are, like these people in the like underworld of the roots, basically, probably all have like feeds going to each of your rooms or whatever of all these cameras and stuff. So I'm sure everybody is aware of what's happening. I don't think Tamar and Jocasta are like there's the charged atmosphere, but it's not because they're like got guns or something like that, right? It's just the atmosphere. But if somebody wants to get more information, they're welcome to try that.
Yeah, Bergen is just like tripping. Like I'm not necessarily saying that Tamar is coming in guns blazing, but
right.
Bergen's like
yeah, you're like
yeah. I just thought maybe we could like. If she's rude to us, we could just kill her.
I think then, like, maybe you have like some sort of alert thing, and she just sort of like rolls her eyes and hits the dinger, like the hit push here for service button or whatever, right? She takes a number. Yeah, nice.
Lauren, do you want to go for it, or do you want me to?
I'd like to see maybe Silver and Folk like both walk out to
yeah.
Greta. Maybe that could be cool.
For some reason, the image I don't know. I just like always love the idea of Whisper like admonishing Silver for being a tipper and stuff. But then when shit goes down, Whisper's immediately like and like hides behind Silver for safety.
Nice.
I think I kind of like glance behind me and see that, and I just kind of roll my eyes a smidge. But then I'm like, it just I kind of level a stare at the two that walked in, and I'm like, what do you want?
You know what we want. You have what's ours. Where is he? You give him back, we'll forgive.
If I knew who you were talking about, we'd be able to talk. But at this point, you're just demanding something that seems pretty unreasonable to me.
I think she crosses her arms and gets like stiff, and she said, Tamar told me that you guys were like this, but I had to see it for myself. You take you take us from you take our warehouse, you treat Tamar like crap, and then you take our mechanic. And then you have the audacity to say nothing's happened at all.
We treat Tamar like crap because she came in here as a messenger delivering an insult. That's not okay. That's on you.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not taking any of this.
Yeah, apparently. Let's see.
We should throw in some line about like they're welcome to join us. Like they don't have to deliver insults from trash. They can work with us. Bring them into the fold. It could be their mechanic again, just working for us.
So you are gonna admit that you have the mechanic?
No. I would never.
Okay.
How dare you?
If they ever discover it, then you'll bring them into the fold. Okay, you got us, but you could use them too now. Nice. Okay. I think maybe Jocasta cocks her head and hears like the mechanical whirring of like this place being secure, and just sort of like scouts the place a little bit with her eyes. She's like clearly she has that like born identity disposition thing going on, right? Like she's scouting the exit, she's looking you up and down to see what kind of threat you'd present, and like can hear kind of like the turret, can see all the cameras. And she says, I guess we'll settle this on the streets then, if that's how you want to play it. And like the arms come off from being crossed, and she just sort of like shrugs a little bit. And when she does, you can see that she has like, you know, some futuristic guns in there.
Is she leaving the shop? Is she just like making a grand exit?
Well, yeah, like she's saying like, watch your back. I'm armed. I know that this place is secure, but you got to leave sometime.
So, sorry, did we determine that the bees on the other side are like nano bees?
I think you said that.
Okay. Can we just have them like? I just want a smear of honey across the seat of their motorcycle.
Like you're gonna hack them to do this?
Yeah, I just want to hack these things just like, okay, we'll handle this on the streets, and then just a smear of honey on the handlebars. That's all I want.
Okay. So this is
for this. I'll roll for this.
Sure. Yeah. What do you think you're doing?
Tinker.
Okay.
Just FYI, Silver's if this is what you do, Silver's gonna have words with you later about why didn't you just shoot her instead of like swipe honey on her seat.
Yeah. So Tinker is modify in this one. I could also see it being hack. Like I see modify as being more of a physical thing where you're using tools in your hands to alter something, whereas hack would be like, you know, like using your deck or whatever kind of technology you think you have on you to you know, remotely get into these bees and make them do weird things.
In which case I'll back off that.
Okay, well, you could still attempt it. Like, you could do your thing where you're like, flashback. Like, during this whole conversation, I was over at the bees doing this thing.
Just scraping honey off the,
Or modifying them like that, right? Like, maybe we get a shot of you with some sort of Palm Pilot thing or whatever with a bee on it, and you're like hacking it or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Do it. It's awesome. And it'll be funny if you fail.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
All I need is Lou to push me over the edge, and then it's all downhill from there.
Well, you have communications too, so you could be egging each other on in actual communications. Like Haboop is just like,
Yeah, I like that. Like, there's a little like, hey, I'm thinking of like hacking into the bee and like wrecking their bikes. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, do it. So I get the like, I'm like, yeah, just do it. It's an awesome idea.
Okay, so are we doing a hack or modify?
If you do a modify, then I think you would need to like be there, unless you can give me a way you think that you're modifying. Or I think a hack would make more sense for a ranged thing.
Yeah,
but it's up to you.
I buy your logic. Risky, controlled, desperate.
Well, what is it that you hope to do? Just to piss them off, basically?
Just taunting them.
All right. I would say that, well, you're a Torque. This is kind of your jam, I think. I think it's a controlled and standard effect.
Is there a devil's bargain? There it goes.
Okay, so 6, nice. Okay, well, tell me what happens then.
I don't know. Jesse's question is apt, which is.
Oh, wait. You have 0 dice in it? It says you have 0 dice. Take the lowest result above.
I got a 3.
Yeah.
That's much worse.
Because you're hacking it, right? Yeah, well, it's a full success to a no success. Yeah.
J5 just falls out of the roof, like onto the in the middle of the shop.
The turret gun just like slips out, and just like the barrel falls and clatters against the ground.
I think what happens is you get like wherever you are in this compartment above. There's like a small window that you're looking through to target the bees in this like futuristic Palm Pilot thing or screen that you've got on your wrist or however you do the thing. And as you do that, there is like there's another woman in similar colors that are like inverted, where Jacosta's is blue and green or whatever. It would be the opposite color there, which would probably mean that she's like the second or whatever in command. And I think she just like points her finger at you and does the like kill shot sign thing, and your thing just sort of like frizzles and fries.
Touche.
Yeah. But you can resist it, and I think the consequence from that is that you just simply lose the opportunity, since it was a controlled situation.
That's fair. I don't need to resist. It was a stupid thing done off of a dare. Yeah,
and I'd like to imagine that it's like not even your thing that you're using that fries, even, right? Like it's maybe one of the gang members that we haven't even seen or something. It's maybe they're a hacker or something, or learning to be a hacker of some kind, and you just fried their device that they spend like 1 or 2 cred on or something.
Maybe it was like we have this mechanic's like child, right? Like maybe it's his Game Boy. Like I stole his like.
Oh, what a dick move! You killed the.
And I was like tinkering with it.
Nice. So yeah, he has like this expensive piece of. I don't know, nowadays or something, we'd see it and be like, that's a PSP or something like that, right? And instead you sort of like modified it to do this interfacing with with the bees, and then you just mess it up. And I guess you'll have to explain that to the kid at some point. And then we'll like cut back to the store where she's just like, I'm gonna fuck you up later. And what is happening? Are you just gonna let them walk out?
Are we gonna let her walk out, or are we gonna like try and take the head off of the beast right now?
I feel like this is your area of expertise, Silver.
Yeah. I mean, unless you guys have very strong feelings about letting her go, Silver would not.
But should we really like start a gunfight in our storefront? That sounds like a bad idea.
I see your character. Just do it, man. If start a fight. That's why you're part of the team.
I think, yeah, I think Silver is just like weighing this as it's happening. No real change of expression as it's happening, but she realizes this is just an inevitable war. This is not going to be fixed, and it's like she's not the kind of person that waits once that decision is made in her mind. So,
okay, but hold on before you make a decision. The entanglement that I chose is the equivalent of gang trouble. Mm-hmm. So what that means is, like you guys have caused trouble with them, right? Instead of it being your gang causes trouble, I was just. The allegory is you've already caused trouble. But what will happen though is that like this is sort of the opening scene of the war. If you execute and don't go through with this proposal for what she was offering, like an actual peaceful talk that obviously is not going that way, you'll forfeit rep equal to tier +1. So just so you know.
Mm-hmm. Would you guys want to go along with this plan, or would you want to kind of stonewall her on this? Like,
I totally want to do it. I was just saying out of character that we shouldn't shoot her in the shop, but Habib's totally ready to shoot her in the shop.
Okay. So the question is this like an orchestrated thing? Like, do you know that she would be coming already, and you're like, is this a setup action for somebody else to do something, or is it just like a lark, and you're just like, ba-boom, I'm gonna try to take.
Do you think of your character as impulsive in this regard, or would we do this like methodically? Like I feel like in the sense of how we've been running the last 2 sessions, it's been very like orchestrated. Like we're gonna do these 42 steps to accomplish this one goal.
Right.
Like if we wanted to kill these people, that we would set up some type of trap on their way back, as opposed, or like.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with that if that's the way we want to go. Like my thought process is that yes, orchestrated and stuff is where we generally go, but I think that's all about just like looking at a situation rationally and like, okay, does it make more sense to act now, or does it make sense to act later? And Silver at least is weighing, okay, 4 versus 2 at the moment. We have the leader in our place right now that is fortified. And so I think at least that's her perspective, but I'm totally willing to go a more like back channels, like think it out, plan something else out direction if that's where we want to go as a team.
Yeah, not to I think also, well, the way that I perceive Silver is that she would potentially also be thinking that like these people have come to deal with us like face to face, like it would be like bad for relationships with other people if we were ever wanting to like it's good in the context of this one war, but maybe the broader perspective is that it's not good to like fuck people up in a like peaceful meeting. I don't know, like
yeah,
if that would
like I think that would be
smart.
I think that would be represented by the loss of rep, as well as probably at the end of this, depending, I can't remember what your reputation is, but you might be starting a new reputation.
Yeah, it would be like what would that reputation be?
Ruthless, merciless, I don't know, lawless. I don't know, something like that. because there's always like a code to these underground relationships, right? And
Yeah.
I imagined her coming in to talk and getting shot in the head would violate that. But
so yeah, okay,
mechanically,
that makes sense.
they're a tier above you as well, so just remember that as well.
Yeah, I think at this point I would just okay, then I'm not gonna escalate it here. But what I will say is I'll be like, she was trying to pin this all on us as far as we're the aggressor here, and I'm like, first of all, the workshop, that was business. This is how stuff goes on the streets. Stuff gets taken from different people, whatever. Then you sent someone as an insult to us. That was personal. That was not business. It's like, you're telling us that we've done something wrong here. You've offended us. It's like, you want to try and make that right? We're willing to talk. But the way you come here and start demanding stuff, sorry, that's not a peaceful resolution to this. You say you want that. I don't think you do. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
So
the
would that be
options
sway, or would that
for
be...
the entanglement is you can lose face for not doing like the parlay to end the war or whatever. Make an example of one of the gang members or face reprisals for the wrong party.
What would they look like?
I guess I don't know.
Well, I mean, making an example of one of the gang members. I can see what that would look like. Or simply wait, like let them leave. I think those words would be the end of the conversation. They'd leave, and then you'd need to face reprisals from the wrong party, right? That's what I thought I was hearing mechanically.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
that makes sense to you guys. I think that makes the most sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think you lost face with that, but you've clearly antagonized them. So cool. So you let those like words hang, and then we hear the ding dong or whatever as they leave.
Yeah,
I'd like Haboob to obnoxiously like whatever the equivalent of pulling the hammer back on her gun from behind the curtain as they walk out the
Nice.
like a gun loading.
Okay. Sounds good. And then we'll enter proper downtime activities, and then free play, which leads to score. So, does anyone have any ideas for what they want to do for downtime? You get 2 activities. You can spend cred to get an additional activity or rep, I believe, as well. And yeah. Anyone got ideas? Yeah, you can spend 1 cred or 1 rep to get extra stuff going on.
I kind of who do we have as friends?
Who do you have
that doesn't hate us?
Well, you have your VD, who is, you've kind of turned from a friend into like labor force.
Oh yeah, I mean, like in terms of factions, do we have anyone that were? Yeah,
I don't know. Do you?
Split peas and manufactured light. We've got +1 with them.
Yeah, because I wonder, seeing as we're like now at war with a gang that's actually tougher than us, if we could, like, as a downtime thing, like go to like meet with somebody and try to get some sort of arrangement or something. Like, what would that look like mechanically?
What do you want out of it?
Like,
sounds like maybe in an asset.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I was thinking is we could maybe, actually, I changed my mind. Like, try to get a small gang, like, because we need more people if we're gonna be fighting and shit. Can I try to do that?
You're gonna. What do you want?
I want to get an actual like gang of, I don't know, probably whatever the fighty ones are.
Okay. Normally, I think it would be a crew advancement, but you could always acquire an asset.
Yeah, like I think it ends up being a temporary, like they're gone after 1 sort of thing. Yeah, like just temporary muscle. Acquire temporary muscle move.
Okay, so you'll roll the crew's tier, which is 0 right now, and the result indicates the quality of the asset that you get.
So
Yeah, 1 to 3 is tier -1, so I guess that'd be super shitty. 4 or 5 is your regular tier, and then
do I
6
roll it just as a fortune roll?
Yeah, it would basically just be a fortune roll, and since it's a downtime action, you can also spend cred to bump up your result, right?
Yeah. How much gang cred do we have, Jesse? Should I spend
3.
one on trying to get a better, like spend 1 on it?
Well,
you can roll and then add, right? You can,
and then it improves your result. Okay, cool. I'll roll.
So if you end up getting a 3, then you're like, no, I can at least get a normal one. Yeah.
But regardless of your roll, I'm going to advocate for spending a coin on it just to get them better than they are.
1.
Wow. So if you want just regular folks of your tier, it's interesting because I don't think that it would be like a -1 tier, right? So I think it would just be like a regular tier 0. I can't imagine it being a -1 tier.
I was kind of just thinking like local hangabout muscle to even just sit in the shop if we're going off and doing, like, to protect the mechanic and his family and the shop if we're going off onto the street to do shit instead of leaving it. So
I think what I'll do is, instead of making it whatever -1 would be, I think you would have to give them like an extra flaw. Like they're particularly not into you or just like particularly flawed individuals.
yeah, like, what are the flaws? There's one that
let's see, weak, impaired, broken, and then eventually you can get them armor if you like. Yeah, but
what does broken mean? Like they're severely injured in some way, or is that mentally or physically broken, or both?
Let's see. Broken. My mouse is messed up.
Because it kind of seems like maybe Habib goes out to try get awesome, like, tough people and comes back with like some like old men that used to be in a gang, and they're like gonna sit around and play backgammon with the other old men.
Right. No, that's harm and healing. Weak and impaired, broken is a healing track, not the flaws. Where's the flaws?
I kind of remember them. I think it's, what's the one?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Flaws: principled, savage, unreliable, or wild. So you'd have to get an additional one. So you choose a gang type.
Principled could be kind of cool. Like, we're putting these guys in but they're from the community. Like, they'll protect the shop and the mechanic, but they might not go beyond like, they're not going to do anything particularly like savage, or I kind of like that idea. Yeah. And are they meant to have 2?
Yeah, so it says when you get a cohort, you give them 1 or 2 edges and an equal number of flaws. So I would say that you would give them 1 or 2 edges and then equal number plus 1 flaws. And you can choose whether they're I have what the allegories for these are in a document, but con artists, spies, socialites, sailors, carriage drivers, deathland scavengers, scouts, infiltrators, thieves. So you want thugs, basically, right?
Yeah.
Killers, brawlers, and rustabouts.
Yeah.
Or the equivalent in this world. Cool. So they have if your tier 0 gang is quality 0, scale 0. So you just like you guys have 1 or 2 people already, and this will be an extra contingent of these people set specifically about your aims for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so edges: fearsome, independent, loyal, tenacious. 1 or 2.
Tenacious sounds good for like old men that used to be in a gang.
Sure.
I totally want one of them to have one of those caps with like the like old sharpened coins in the peak of it, like the Peaky Blinders hat. Do I need to add anything else to them?
The flaws. So you're just choosing tenacious?
Yeah, I reckon.
Okay, so then 2 flaws: principled, savage, unreliable, or wild.
I kind of want to. I like principled, and then what were the other ones?
Savage, unreliable, wild.
Let's go with unreliable and principled.
Okay, so they're not always available due to other obligations, stupefaction from the vices, etc. Well, to be fair, you did roll a 1, right? So it's like you barely scraped the bottom of the barrel, essentially. Cool. So yeah, just track that, and you're charging them with doing what exactly?
I just wanted somebody to be in the shop to watch over the family and stuff to make the shop slightly more safe, like while we're going out and doing shit on the street.
Right. Well, I have a feeling what your score will be. So yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So just record that, and they'll be the ones watching the shop when you're next gone, right?
Yeah. Cool. Do you want me to add that into the sheet and stuff, Jesse?
Feel free if you want to. Yeah, up to
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Cool.
Aaron says in the chat, can it be like a 16-year-old's first job? Nice.
Oh yeah, maybe it can be a 16-year-old and like his old uncle that used to be in a gang or something, and they're watching the shop together. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. I feel like, so what does this scene look like though? Like, what do we see on camera? Like,
I think we see
they're just sitting on a stoop nearby, and you're like, hey.
Yeah, no, I think Haboob goes out and you see her talking to these other tough dudes out on the street and stuff, and you know, she's like shaking hands and her like awesome blue tattoo hands lighting up, and they look completely unimpressed. And she's just walking around, and I don't know, maybe she's got some food stuck in her teeth or something, or the social equivalent of that. It's like a bad hair day, but she can't do social things. And then eventually comes back with this like kid and his uncle to like watch the shop.
Sure. Well, a thing to remember is you're all like still badass people, even though you're the bottom of the barrel stuff. So it could be that humorous thing, but it could just be like, these are the people available and stuff too, right?
Yeah. Maybe it's more that the badasses are all busy doing other shit, and maybe it's yeah. I mean, I did fail with that role, so I think it's fair for Haboob to fail in some way when she's trying to hire things. I don't know. Yeah, like maybe it's just not her strong suit. She had a good idea and wasn't able to convince people and ended up with these guys.
Okay, sounds good. And so are you just like saying when the job's done or whatever, they get a cred, something like that?
Yeah, I reckon.
Cool. Okay. Sounds good. Does anyone else have a downtime action that they would be interested?
I know what I want to do.
What do you want to do?
2 simple things.
Something about bees.
I'm not going to take up everybody's time today. I want to train.
Okay.
I want to train specifically in hack because of that failure. So I want to, and I think that's one of our crew skills, possibly. We have training and resolve.
Yeah, I think that's reflective of the people in your gang, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to train, and by train I mean I want this character to try to fix the kid's Game Boy, and maybe he like calls on a friend to like help him like figure out, because maybe he's not computer savvy. He's savvy in these other like technical gadgety ways, but perhaps not in this particular way. So he's got a friend that helps him out with that.
Cool. And so yeah, you can just mark a point in resolve, and when it's full, then you can put the dot in hack.
Okay.
How far are you along in it? Have you allotted any other XP towards it, or no?
No.
Okay, so just one ahead. If you guys want to rearrange your XPs, feel free to do that as well, especially since we're just getting the legs of the characters going on here. And do you have another thing?
The other is the long-term project. I want to continue working on my pirate radio. I think I have 3 of 6 in the segment clock.
Cool. So what do you do? What does it look like?
Oh, interesting. I think that I start exploring some of this nanotech. Maybe I know a guy like. I think the way I envisioned it is that that this character would be able to like flip a switch, and that like people within a particular radius would be able to like tune into to whatever sort of like message that our group is sending. And so maybe one path of doing that is to tune into these to the little nanobots that are buried deep inside us. So maybe I go find a technician or something and work on some of that technology, but in like a skewed way, so that they don't catch wise to my plan. Okay.
So what action do you think you're doing with that?
I think that's some type of research action, some type of study action. There is literally a thing called study. I think I'm going to study.
Okay, that sounds good. And so roll that, and 1 to 3, 1 segment, 4 to 5, 2 segments, and 6 is 3 segments, critical 5 segments. So
I get a 3.
3. Do you want to spend cred to bump it up as well?
What do I get with 3?
1 segment.
I'll take that.
Okay. Cool. That's
Thank
cool.
You.
And you're done? Okay. Who else wants to do things?
I think I had a long-term project to make like not MSG, right? Like I think I was trying to make some kind of flavor enhancement.
Not MSG. Yeah. Yeah.
To improve the quality of our product.
Yeah. Well, that'll be good then. You already have the good stuff, so it'll be like the most best. People will be like, did you get that ramen over in the Roots district? That shit is good. I don't know what that flavor is, but I'm hooked. Cool. So what are you doing to what do we see on camera with you working on the not MSG?
Yeah, well, I think from memory, right? Like I spent some time researching how to potentially go about doing it, right? I think it
looks like you didn't start a clock.
Oh. Oops. Never mind. Yeah, well, I think for some reason in the back of my head, I have a thing about Whisper having learned like the process of like desalination and like extracting stuff from other naturally occurring phenomena.
If I recall correctly, you did that as your vice last time. You were indulging your vice by going there and cooking.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't it? Or was there another thing that you did too? But if you're doing that, then go ahead and start a clock.
Yeah, yeah, I'll do that.
And so the clock is improving the quality of the product, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and you're doing it with that same person?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, cool. So are you also indulging your vice then, or is it both at the same time?
Yeah, if it can be.
Do you want to indulge your vice?
Well,
you only have 3 stress, but it's up to you.
But also, it's like the best part about baking is like eating the batter and stuff, right?
Yeah, sure. So, okay. So you're gonna do both. Which one do you want to do first?
I'll, for once in my life, go about it somewhat intelligently and start the project.
Okay.
Before cooking the bowl.
Nice. And what do you think that is? For your actual action for increasing the thing.
It's probably. I could do study or I could do modify. I'm kind of.
I think it could also be a finesse too, right?
A finesse thing. Yeah.
Depends what you think. Whatever you think. Do you think you're studying?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, what the fiction I had in my mind anyway was like, scooping up samples of stuff around like Shelter 1 because it's not like the pure like crystalline salt water of the wet kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably like some of that shitty lake water that we accidentally fucked up in that other score we did and stuff. And like instead of like trying to use the materials on hand to like extract some kind of like a salt or something to like put into the flavor enhancer. So I guess that could be studying.
Sure.
It's a roundabout way of doing it. Sorry.
No worries. So same thing. You'll roll that, and your the clock will go up X amount of segments based on your roll.
Awesome. I'm guessing this is controlled.
You might want to, if you're going to indulge your vice next, you might want to push yourself as well. So you're more likely to not overindulge unless you want to overindulge. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll push myself and then we'll see what happens.
Okay. So you'll roll and add a bonus die.
A bonus dice? Cool.
There you go.
Glad I did.
Yeah, that last one was what you needed. 6.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 segments. And I think the clock will be improving the overall tier. You already have good stuff. Let's make it a 6 segment thing. So you're about halfway there. And the person that you're cooking with, who was it again?
It was your contact, I think that.
Yeah.
It was the cook. I think she's gone from the.
Is she? Well, what is it? Did you mark it down on your sheet? Because that can still be canon, right?
Oh crap! I've forgotten her name. That's really embarrassing. Can that be fiction?
From what I remember, does everyone else remember that it could have been Vidi as well?
We decided that it wasn't Vidi because like I remember it. I don't remember the other cook's name, but I just remember that we said that it wasn't. But we could always rewrite it.
Hang on.
Yeah, for sure. If you remember who it is, then we can just do it.
The previous one somewhere, but
I probably didn't.
Oh, yeah, it was Ren.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a sorcerer as well, so that means that instead of being a cook, what they do is literally do what you described, like searching for things outside of like really sought after merchandise, and they searching outside of Shelter 1, not too far because acts of God happen, and also just scrounging for people and being like a little bit of a not like a thrifter, but somebody who can search through things that other people don't know the value of and obtain them and stuff like that. So they're literally someone who can get you the source of things. So
perfect.
Yeah, that makes good sense, and it makes sense that it's a 6 then, because that is kind of their jam. And we'll also say that they're a cook because that's already established. Cool.
Awesome.
And so then you're also indulging your vice, and you increase your stress by 2.
I did.
Cool. Do it. Let's see what happens.
I indulge vice. It's a button for it. Cool.
Yeah, it'll technically just do it for you, but it rolls your lowest attribute, and then 4. There you go. 4 down. It's a good thing. See, you would have overindulged. Oh.
I kind of wanted to.
Well, too bad. You shouldn't have pushed yourself then. Awesome. Who is next? Unless remember, you can always spend cred to do extra stuff as well. If people are just pining to do that things.
I'll go, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I know what I want to do. I just don't know if this is going to be acquire asset or a long-term project. So you have to help me with that.
Sure.
I think this actually happens right on the tail of the last scene that we had when they were leaving the shop.
Okay.
This is Silver's, instead of like that impulse to like pull a gun immediately, this is instead is Silver's like, snap decision. It's like, okay, we're at war. She's going to start, they're going to start preparing immediately, and it's not going to be that person. She's going to like, that her second in command was there, right? You said out and like kind of countered the bee hacking. Was that the case?
Yeah.
Okay. So Silver's immediate thing will be to, as soon as she's not, like noticed, going to head out and start following that second in command, because I'm assuming and guessing that leader is going to give them immediate orders on how they're going to prepare for war with us. So my goal is to follow, check out what they're doing, get an idea of their plans. Basically, I'm trying to figure out a way to like, I'm trying to get information that will help us to get a better engagement role when we get into like, start some kind of nasty shit with them. How do you think that would work the best?
I think that you could, depending on exactly what you're doing, it could count as the setup for the thing that you're doing. But so what is it exactly that you think will help you with what you're planning?
I don't know. So I think it's just trying to figure out the immediate preparations that they're making, and trying to, so that I can be able to plan, have an idea of how to counter that when we initially, get into conflict with them. I'm not sure.
Well,
yeah.
If it helps, acquire asset is acquire a special item, a cohort, a vehicle, or a service. So it could be like, maybe I could see you pulling somebody aside and like flipping them or paying them for information on them, whatever kind of stuff that you're looking for. And that would be a temporary thing that you get from them. And that could just be you roughing them up or paying them off, whatever you think that it would be.
Okay.
It could be a specific special item, like if you have a contact especially that could get you like information on the building or...
Yeah, my contact is Envy, who was a retired spook, so I mean definitely can use them for some reconnaissance and stuff. I think that would make a lot of sense.
Okay, sure, let's do that then.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be an acquired asset. I think it would just be... I don't think it would be a long-term action either. And it's a downtime action anyway, so it would be a safe thing to do. So let's say that you are gathering information, and you'll have an extra D from your contact as well, because they're helping you out.
All right. Is it possible, like, can I push myself on this as well?
Oh yeah, you can.
Okay. So I'll do that. And I'm imagining this being like us actually, like getting help from this person, but we're going out following members of this, of this other gang as a constructed chaos, and like it's definitely putting in the work. It's not necessarily just like sitting around and watching something or hacking anything. So yeah, okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think this
so
might even just be like a normal free play action that is
Okay.
like a setup for what you're going to do next.
Should I not do this during downtime then? Or
Doesn't matter.
Okay, I can just do this now. All right.
Yeah, you've
Okay.
got it in your mind now. Might as well let's just do it.
Okay. So I imagine could this be hunt since we're out there tracking?
Sure.
Okay.
Stock.
All right. So doing that, fixed standard, and bonus die. I get one from using my contact and one from pushing myself, right?
Yep.
Okay. I got a 5.
So let's see. On a risky roll, 5, you do it, but there's a consequence. For harm, complications occur. Oh no, this is just gather information, right?
Yeah.
So you get not exceptional information, but good.
Mhm.
So let me think. And what specifically are you looking for again?
I'm looking to understand their preparations for this war, what they're going to hit us with, or their fortifications, or whatever it is. Whether they're, I don't know if they're planning to attack us or not. So whether they're trying to do that or not, whether they're coming to our place or we're, sorry, I know I'm not making much sense. I'm basically doing reconnaissance to see their preparations so that I can figure out a way to get past, whatever their initial, defenses are.
Okay, cool. I think you'll see like we get a shot of this rain coming down that I think is ordinarily like a little bit toxic.
Mm-hmm.
But just as it's like starting to come down, I think you're like riveted and maybe you've been watching for a little while, and we get a picture of like a shot of your contact opening up like a translucent umbrella just as the rain's about to hit you, because they're sneaky as fuck. What do they look like?
Let's see. This is on V. I don't know if that's male or female or what.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm going to go with more ambiguous. So I think this is someone that's just like hooded, face kind of like, techie looking, like face mask kind of down there. Very just, I imagine this not being someone that goes out on the street buying, produce and stuff like that. This is someone who's just kind of in the shadows all the time. So yeah, dark clothing, mask that probably like alters their voice a little bit or something.
Yeah. Deep throat is here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Okay, so I think how they help you is they've got like maybe like an iPad looking thing, and what they do is they have like this pretty high class, they've either hacked a satellite or just have information sources. Like the corporation information has this type of technology, but nobody else does. And what they do is they use the devices, the electronic devices within the actual building to sort of ping everybody and create like a blueprint, which is possible right now. P.S. Scary. I saw it on Continuum. So you kind of like, instead of it being infrared and you see like the body heat, it sort of looks like bluish with the figures walking around instead. And so you see that they actually don't have that many people. They're tier 1, so they have like 3 to 5 people there, and someone's clearly missing. And maybe you see them. Ooh, yeah, it would be cool if what they do is they suddenly like intuit on the device where they put like 2 fingers on it and tap and then like raise a bar, and you start hearing the conversation inside. And you hear Jocasta saying, "It's a good thing that we sent," let's see, what's a good name? We'll go Lilu. We sent Lilu to get the sun jets, which is a gun that shoots basically like a fire beam, like a sun. And the things about Sunjet is they're much more powerful than your disposable printed weapons, but they're also kind of traceable, which means that they're pretty pissed, right? Like they're willing to leave their mark and scorch you pretty hard with these things. And she sort of scoffs and is just like, manufactured light wouldn't help us out, which is in the fiction. We know that they're +1 with you, right? So we had to go further than normal, and she won't be back for a while. So you know that they're one man down. When Lilu gets back, though, they'll have weapons, and you kind of know the like positioning of it. Maybe there's like a screenshot or something like that that gets sent to a Palm Pilot or something that you've got.
Gotcha. So I know that, yeah, we're definitely time sensitive advantage here. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And like, what would be a cool, I want to do like the approximation of, or the equivalent of Blade Runners, where you're at like a noodle cart, except subvert the like Asian expectation thing. So maybe it's like, what's a good street food? Maybe there's the Australian pies. Hey, Lord, the pie vendor.
Gross, worst food ever.
Yeah, there's the pie vendor there, and you like turn around to maybe like say your thanks or something like that, and the umbrella is just like propped up in such a way that it never moved a position, but they're gone.
Nice. And I just smirk.
Yeah, the vendor is like this really cute old lady who's like super wrinkled and has like purplish eyes, dark complexion, and like long black hair that's braided, and she's just like smiling up at you, like preferring this pie that's already been paid for. And then we can cut to like whatever you did in your downtime, like,
very nice.
like as a flashback or whatever, right?
Cool.
So did you have other stuff that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I've got my downtime stuff that can be really fast here. I pushed myself. I'm up to 6 stress. I'm definitely going to indulge my stress, but I think I'd better do my training first. I'm going to do resolve training, which we have for the crew. So where does that go?
Resolve, it just goes in the tick.
Yeah, there we are. So I want to do resolve, so I'll get 2 of those, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I imagine that's just socializing and stuff like that. You know, when I'm out asking questions, I think it kind of ties into that last scene. We can kind of count that as being, you know,
sure.
dealing with Envy is kind of part of that training. Just getting better and better at reading people and talking to people and getting what I need from them. So doing that, and then I'm going to indulge my vice, and stupor is my vice. I think I talked about drugs, but I don't use ours.
Yeah.
I think, and this is kind of, have any of you guys ever played Dreamfall? Any of those point and click adventure games?
Yeah,
amazing. Anyway,
I played all of them except the last one.
Yeah, so I'm imagining a scene where I go and I buy like a small little like technological looking like little box, and then I get a room, you know, like crappy little room in a little seedy, you know, like motel kind of thing, lay down on the bed, push the button on the box, and it opens up, and out pops like a vine with like a big flower on the end of it, you know, that's kind of like moving and prehensile, and then it comes at my face and the petals split apart and like cover my entire face, and then it's like some kind of hallucinogenic that I'm out for a few hours kind of deal, is what I imagine.
Cool. And what is it called?
Oh wow.
Bloom.
Ooh, yeah, Bloom. Yes, absolutely. Yes, you nailed it there.
Cool.
All right, so let's roll for this. And
is it all natural?
I doubt that. I think
holistic drugs.
I'm betting they're highly genetically modified to be doing some crazy stuff to your brain. All right, so how do I roll for this one? Is it?
Just indulge vice. It's on the sheet.
Where is that? Oh, there it is. Okay, found it. Yeah, perfect. Indulge vice, bonus dice. I don't think I get any, right? No.
Not unless you're doing the normal stuff to get it.
No. So I'm just gonna roll straight.
You all right. Unless you do it with a friend as well, if anybody wants to come along.
Oh, does anyone? No, I just don't think I would. I think this is like one of the reasons why I don't use our stuff is that this is a personal thing that I try not to like let anyone know about, that this is how I blow off steam.
Do you want to spend cred to bump up the result? You can choose 4 or 5 if you do.
Well, we don't have individual cred at the moment, right? I mean, I don't think I have any in my thing, and I wouldn't spend it out of the
No, you wouldn't.
group coffers.
You could take stash, your 2 stash to make 1 cred.
Oh,
Nobody would know.
Yep, I'm doing that.
Okay.
Yep,
and
taking those. So what does that do?
You can choose 4 or 5 instead of 2.
Oh, I can choose 4 or 5 stress to clear? Okay,
Yep.
so I'm going to clear 5 then.
Cool.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Lou says nobody would know. Yeah. Well, that's how I do. And what about other stuff? Technically, you still have 1 more. And Lou hasn't gone, right?
Yeah, I used one of my
action.
I think I'm going to repeat the same thing and try get somebody that's not shit to look after the. Is that too?
Oh.
I just kind of feel like that would be cool.
Somebody who's not shit at it.
I think she's gonna go out again and do that same thing.
If you acquire the same asset again, you get +1d to your roll as well.
Ah, cool. So.
But why didn't you just spend cred to up it then?
Well, I just kind of liked what happened. It was interesting.
Oh, okay. That's funny. Okay.
I liked the fiction of it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I rolled tier.
Yeah, tier. So 0.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna roll it straight up.
Are you not doing any stress stuff? Do you want to? Can anyone think of a devil's bargain or anything either?
I can just think of the double agent.
Oh, like you like somebody from their gang?
Oh, like not necessarily like a somebody that might be or somebody that's gonna get like report back to somebody about what they see and do while they're with us. Like they'll still do their job essentially, but will pass on information. That's I don't know.
Sure, like a go between selling information to them or something.
Yeah.
Sure, I like that. Especially depending on how well your next score goes, I'm assuming.
Yeah, cool. Okay,
sure.
So I'll get 1 bonus dice.
Yeah.
Boop. Jesus.
What? No, it should be 2 dice though, right?
Yeah, I added a bonus die, but it's because we're tier 0, right?
Oh, so just add it, or just roll a d6 straight, so it doesn't mess with it. It's because you're 0 tier, yeah. Okay, yeah. So
I got a 2.
And did you? Well, you also get +1d because you're doing the same thing again, right?
Oh yeah, so that takes it up to a 3.
Yeah. Well, you roll another die, right?
Oh, do I?
Yeah, it would be.
It's not a +1. It's a +1 extra dice. Okay.
Yeah, like a whole extra die.
Roll all my dice separately for the tension.
Yeah,
it's a 5.
So it's just your tier instead of really crappy. So, do you want it to be the same people and you're just like whipping them into shape, or do you want it completely different?
No, I want an actual like proper thug.
Okay. Okay. So, do you want an expert? Is that what you're?
Well, I guess like an expert thug, an expert like brutal thug.
Okay. Okay, with the same flaws and whatnot, except not a double flaw.
Maybe this guy's what
vicious.
are the I think I want a vicious. Like this guy will go overboard.
Okay, sounds good. And his edge is that.
I forget what the edges are again.
Let's see. I'll find the page.
I forgot what the edge was, so that I gave the uncle and the nephew as well.
Oh, you gave
that?
them tenacious, I believe.
Ah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's fearsome, independent, loyal, tenacious for edges. So you could
I
do.
guess maybe fearsome and like, what's the one that's not wild for the floor? It's like vicious. Was that it, or was that an edge?
Savage.
Savage.
Savage is a flaw, though.
Cool.
Not a good thing. The cohort is excessively violent and cruel. Yeah.
But he looks really scary.
So that's interesting. So the people that you initially hired are just like what is it called? Like red herrings or whatever, right? They're just like, oh good, we can just like get around these people easily, but then that guy's in the back cracking his knuckles and ready to mess people up.
Yeah, or he's hanging out with the family, probably scaring the shit out of them down in the quarters. Like if anyone comes into the quarters, he'll mess them up.
Woohoo! And Jesse, so you have one final action, unless people want to spend cred to.
I did too. I trained resolve really quickly, and then I also did my vice, so I'm good.
Gotcha. Okay, sweet. So do you want to take a break before we move to score? We haven't done that yet. Yeah. So 45. Come back. Is that good for everybody? Yeah. Cool. Okay. See you in 6.
What you drinking?
Just water now. I finished my green tea. That was all super strong because I always leave it in for far longer than I'm meant to.
Yeah.
I'm foolish. He chose poorly.
I do the exact same thing. All of
Green
my
tea is
teas.
especially like bitter when you leave it in. You're just like, twitch.
Yeah.
At least this one is. It's pretty strong stuff.
Yeah. I had to go into green. I usually just drink like English breakfast and stuff at work, but they were out of milk, so I had a lot of green tea. Yeah. Lots of really strong green tea.
Nice. Green tea for life. Yeah, now David's tea knows that it has like its hooks in me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. They like send me emails all the time and they're like, yo, it's BOGO time.
Oh no.
Shut up, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David's tea is in massive financial trouble right now.
Oh, really?
Just kind of came out. Yeah, they tried to expand to the States, and they pushed way too far, way too fast, and it hasn't gone as well as they'd hoped. So they're like in some serious financial trouble right now. Which is a bummer.
No.
Yeah, that sucks. They're from Montreal. Hopefully, at least the one in Canada will stay.
Yeah, I think they're looking to sell it basically at this point.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, to continue it, to continue the brand, but they want someone with money to come in and take over.
Oh.
We'll see.
Yeah.
My girlfriend owns a tea shop, so I get all the news.
Yeah. Word on the wire is oh, nice. I found a cool pictures. Always got that Pinterest game going. And it's so hard to find like locations that aren't just like littered with Asian influences. Just like gotta be the change that you want to see. You just gotta find somebody, have money, make a Kickstarter, and pay them. No big deal.
Easy.
And then be willing to put it on a free thing like Pinterest. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so I will ask you. Well, first, I think the thing that happens shortly after your reconnaissance thing is I think you have some like a hopper or some equivalent person, right? Someone who's selling your stuff, but not for immediate cred, but keeping like repping the brand or whatever. And so they've got the blue hand, right? Because you have one or two other people besides VD, right? We just haven't really seen them on screen, so this will be their shining moment. But I think it's the rain like stops, the sun pierces the clouds, and like the rays shine down on this like particular corner, and we see like the row houses that are built like upwards and stuff like that. And I think there's like somewhat of like a Honda Civic equivalent beater rising out of the ground after the person has like called it up out of the shelter's recesses. And there's like just a resounding barking sound a la like Blade Runner. And I think this hopper comes like maybe at the other hopper, we'll call them let's come up with some names. Let's see. Fleur and Remy, I think. And Fleur has got Remy propped up. They've got like the swept hair with the buzz cut. And they look kind of like androgynous looking. Both of them have the blue tattoos, and I think everyone was psyched about that, getting that, I don't know, like a day or two ago, something, right? And yeah, they were just like scouting territory and getting ready for like an expansive push or something like that, when I think we get the ominous ding dong again of the blue oolong, except that Remy is like kind of slumped and bleeding, and he's like crying a little bit. He's like a 15-year-old young kid. He's got like a mohawk that's like purple and blue blazed, and it matches his eye colors. Probably like really cheap mods. They probably like flicker in and out and stuff like that. He just got them at like a vendor, something like that. But yeah, he's like sort of weeping, and maybe you guys are in like the warehouse preparing or something like that, right? And our doorbell would sound more like liquid being poured into a mug. Okay, sure. A kettle boiling. Okay, well, I'll let you guys think on it and then let me know, because there's ideas happening.
I guess we can all like set it to whatever sound we want to hear, right?
Oh, that's true, right?
Because it's like goes straight into our like
yeah. Yeah. Whatever you want, that's what you hear. Okay. And Fleur is like, man, she just like came out of nowhere. If I hadn't pushed Remy, it would have gone into his head instead of like his shoulder. And she describes just like she didn't really didn't really exactly see what was happening. She was like around the corner type deal when she heard the shot. And Remy just got like hit from behind. But from the audience's perspective, like when we're reliving this flashback through Remy's disembodied camera, we see like this woman with like an eye tattoo going through the top of her eye, and then you know how nowadays it would obviously stop with the eye. In this one it doesn't. It goes right through the eyes, and it's able to blink and everything. And she's got the typical bandana type thing that Jocasta had on, and like a not like a skin type clothing's in like a sexualized way, but more of a like what somebody in a biker gang would have on, except that she had like ripped off clearly where the sleeves would be, and has like this weird green flowery stuff tattoos that was changing in the and it looks like really sinister in the scene because the neon lights above that are illuminating, like, I don't know, we'll say like maybe the same vendor that we saw. Their little cart is all like chained down and in storage since they're gone, but it has the sign of their place still going because it's just like solar powered or whatever. And so the black and blue tattoo is like ominously lit by the neon, and we see them take like the Trinity pose where it's like dodge this type thing against Remy, except that Fleur comes running out of nowhere and like not like balls them both over, and it goes in the shoulder instead. And then when they look up, the person's gone. So you guys know that shit's on. What do you do?
What else do we know about Constructed Chaos other than that they are an all-female motorcycle gang? What's their angle? Are they selling something? Are they?
They're data couriers, so they use their cycles to discreetly move data. Nobody knows how they do it either, like with what media, etc.
I'm all for just going and fucking them up.
Haboob is always straightforward.
That's Haboob's plan. Kick down the front door and the back door at the same time and mess them up.
Right.
But I'm willing to hear other
Silver agrees completely, and I think it's like, you know, if you make a statement towards that, Silver will just be like nodding and being like, my reconnaissance says that they're trying to acquire some sun jets right now. They don't have them yet. They're down one person who's gone to acquire these. Now is our chance to strike. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot more bloodshed, you know, if we wait any longer.
But shouldn't we like learn more about them and before we do all of that, so we can like have a proper attack? If we have to attack them, I mean, do we have to attack them?
We are at war. I don't know. I mean,
Remy like passes out, like blood loss.
Yeah. So I guess, do we have anyone who's like good with medic stuff? I mean, I guess I would probably, you know, at the very least, rush over to Remy, you know, when they come in and start trying to, you know, staunch bleeding and stuff like that.
Yeah, Haboob has a doctor friend like on a.
So maybe you just tell Fleur to take him there or something. Then, hey, off screen.
I kind of want to fuck up their business model. Like that's how that's how Bergen rolls. So I'm wondering if we can. I'm thinking like contemporary technology, like you can magnetize stuff and it'll like erase it'll erase a hard drive, right? I want to find a way to, I don't know, surround. I want to create like traffic lights that will erase data that comes that passes underneath or something to that effect. Like I want to. I'm fine with fucking them up like in real life. They've taken out one of our guys, and so I'm on board with that, and I'll help with that. But I also want to like dismantle their ability to do their job.
Well, it sounds to me like after this score, they might all just be dead, right?
Yeah, I think Haboob. I think Haboob would say something to like, "That's a great idea, but they are currently acquiring big, scary guns, and hopefully they'll all be dead after this. So maybe we won't need to wreck their business because there will be no one to do their business."
Okay, I'll have to think on that then.
Because there's only, what was it? I think said 5 people there, right? So
I really like the idea that Bergen's like, we're like getting guns and stuff ready in the back room, and Bergen's like, how about if we set up an elaborate system of traffic lights to scrape their data as they run? We're like, Bergen, we're ready to go. Let's go now.
Yeah. Is it a assault plan?
Kind of sounding like it.
Yeah. Or is it a deception, stealth, social transport?
Sorry, Lauren, were you talking in character when you were saying like, do we have to attack them, or was that an out of character? Because I don't want to like steam right over the top of what like both of you guys are saying as well out of character. I'm totally like happy to do other things, but in character, I just want to mess them up.
No, I'm like this sort of foppish academic who's like, I just want to learn shit, guys. Like, I guess if we have to kill them, we'll kill them. But I came here to like learn about Wither and stuff.
I think.
So I have a suggestion to tap into that. So why doesn't Whisper and Bergen run a grift in which we try to learn about the migratory patterns of these bees, in which we can send the bees towards to like encase their lair in honey, or no, that's too simplistic. Or to attack, just attack. Like
I'm so on board.
To a drone.
Yes.
Yeah. I think at least in character, Silver is going to be like, did you not hear about them trying to acquire sun jets and that time being essential here? We wait to do a program like that, they're going to have the firepower to kill us all. Like, they're going to put one of these sun jets to your head and pull the trigger unless we do the same to them first right now.
I like that as being the vanguard for our attack potentially, though, as like bees. Bees just we kick in the door and bees fly in.
Yeah. No, out of character, I'm totally cool doing something here, but that would be Silver's reaction. Yeah.
Yeah. So
in character, I think that Bergen would be like, this guy doesn't trust, like, he doesn't understand knowledge. This is just a trigger jockey. It's this this character.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to do the assault?
I think maybe, but we've overdone the bees. Or do you have a suggestion for some type of research project that would be similarly like weaponizing something that your character would be interested in?
Yeah, well, I kind of dig, like, I mean, I think what the real loss here will be is like this thing they have that they can use to like transfer data and stuff. That is like super fascinating. So if there's like a way to maybe like, you know, if we're going to kill him, but also like benefit from it somewhat, because like bloodshed is messy and very stressful and fatiguing. So we should probably try and come out with something.
Yeah, I like those. I guess they can be like if we go for the assault, and then those can be elements maybe that like you guys could flash back to or sidetrack the assault during the thing. That sounds pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
Can we poison their water?
No, Bergen, we're just going to kill them with guns.
Yeah. If you like, do you want to do a linked plan then? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I want us to have a better chance in our assault. So I'm thinking just not poison as in kill, but poison as in like hallucinogenic. Like I want them to be firing like all over the place, like not knowing what they're doing, so that our guys can come in and do a clean sweep.
Yeah, or into their air or something. Yeah, in the building, like gas their air with bee gas. With poison and honey bee gas.
Okay, so it'll be a linked plan in which the first step is to poison the place, and then the second part will be you entering and assaulting them.
I'm open to other ideas. I just think I think that there should be. I feel like Bergen, at the very least, would push for some type of like crazy plan that would help if it went through, but also creates like 4 extra steps. Which in game, like we can simplify to like just roll this thing, and if it happens, then it happens. But if not, then you.
Well, I will say that the engagement roll does one of the questions is like, is this a convoluted or plan, right?
Yeah.
So
yes.
I like the idea that while we're getting these weapons ready and stuff, and Bergen's like just like cobbling together some sort of like crazy device to poison their air with, like while we're getting like, it seems like some fun things could go wrong with that.
They get like resupplies, like data resupplies. So one of my things is I'm a saboteur, so I can wreck something, and it's quieter and it's hidden from casual inspection. So maybe I can sabotage something that's heading into their, like maybe the exhaust filter on their bikes or something to that effect. We did something similar to that session.
Yeah, well, the bikes I think are already, like, maybe not all of them are messed up, but a bunch are messed up already. I don't think enough time has passed that they would have repaired them.
Yeah.
And we showed in the fiction that Jakas's bike was running, but the other person's clearly wasn't, because there was only one bike for like 3 people. So what you could do then is maybe do an assault plan, and then the beginning is a setup action with you doing your saboteur wrecking thing to them. And then that would give you greater effect for the entry, perhaps?
Cool.
Yeah? Okay, so why don't we do that then? Why don't you... Let's see. Let's do that first, and then we'll do... Let's see. When do we want to do the engagement? Let's have you do this in free play, I think, but there could be consequences for it, and it's a setup action, I think. So the effect will be greater on the engagement, which means it would give you a +1d to it, because there's not, the engagement just describes like what position you're in when you arrive. So we'll say that if this succeeds, then you get +1d. Is that good?
Cool.
Okay. So you're sneaking up to them and trying to do this thing?
Yes.
Okay. Is other people going with you?
If
I
you're
think
all
that-
sneaking, it could help.
Yeah, I think that if you're sneaking, you definitely would need to sneak there. I think you wouldn't be able to just walk up to the compound and do this thing, but you do have information about where people might be and stuff like that based on your intel before.
Yeah, I like the idea that this is like it's almost like a breaching like operation sort of thing. Like you were going into like, make sure as soon as we burst through. So it makes sense if the assault follows right on the heels of like this thing. So I guess we could all be there for that.
Sure. So who's leading the group action? It doesn't really like, you'll take the highest die regardless, so it doesn't really matter who. It just depends on who's taking the stress for the people that fail, including the actual person. But yeah, it sounds like you're the one leading it, right?
I mean, this part seems to be Bergen's folly.
Yeah, it's interesting, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm torn between like doing it this way or doing the engagement roll that begins with this. It's a toss-up. But I think that it makes more sense that this is happening before you do your assault, right? Like, is it substantially before it? Because you're like flooding them with this stuff, waiting for it to happen, and then you're gonna do your breach actual plan, right?
Yeah, it's like a medium con, right? Like if I had time, like I feel like I came up with like a long plan, like the long con, like this is how we're gonna get them, guys, and we're gonna steal all their data, and then everybody was like, no, we're just gonna kill them. And so this was like the compromise, like, all right, you go there the night before and do this, and like you can set this up, but like this is how it's gonna go, and we're attacking tomorrow at dawn or whatever.
Right. Okay. And so what is it that you're wrecking with? Do you have the actual thing, or do you need to acquire it as an asset?
I don't know. Do we know anything about their hideout, or perhaps some of the like environmental tech? I imagine us like sabotaging some of their like.
Oh, like sabotaging what's already there, right?
Yeah, like there's rubbers or like something that will like you mess with some of that stuff and it'll like spread a gas that creates I don't know.
Yeah, so you just mess with the mixtures of what's going into their compound already to create this gas, right?
Right.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, so let's stealth it, and then you can do your wreck, and then we'll do the engagement.
Cool.
So everybody roll sneak, which on your sheets will be something else. Prowl. And if you fail, including yourself, you'll take stress. And we take the highest thing. So that's a 5 from Silver. Oh, there's a 6. Bergen is actually good at... Oh, no. Take the lowest 4. And a 5. So it's all... Oh, nice. Okay, so you'll take... Oh, you'll take no stress at least, though. Or you'll take 1 stress, actually, from folks, too. But everybody else did okay, and you did get a 4 out of 5. Or a middling success, I should say. And let's see. I think the normal... Yeah, the complication I think that happens is that it will take more time than you expect, which means that the people initially will have to breach without you if you want to get this done.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I'd stay behind. And maybe it's like I don't realize that it's going to do that. I just keep being like, just 5 more minutes, guys. I'm almost there. And then at some point they're just like, we're splitting. I'm like, I got this. I got this.
Okay, cool. So yeah, it's just a complication. You haven't lost the opportunity or anything yet, but you're like a man down or whatever, possibly. So let's see how well the wreck does.
Yeah.
And that'll be the setup for these folks doing the breach.
Is that risky?
Yeah, I think it would be. Well, we said that you've got their. Yeah, we'll say it's risky. We'll say that like it's. I think that it makes sense that they have the controls or whatever are normally monitoring this stuff, right? So it doesn't poison the people within it. So yeah, I think it's risky and standard effect. And are you going to push yourself or devil's bargain or anything like that?
I feel like this is definitely a situation where I'd be pushing myself.
Yeah. I'm not sure anyone's in a position to help you, unless maybe, yeah, because it seems like you are the distraction for them, not the other way around. But a devil's bargain, this all takes longer, so that I'll tick up the clock for the next act of God, which I have. It's a 6-tick thing, and it's 1 away. So basically, at the end of this this mission or whatever, an act of God is going to hit, and you'll have to contend with that to get home, basically.
Okay.
You want to take it?
What's the devil's bargain again? I'm sorry.
If you accept that, then the act of God will hit at the end of this mission.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but you'll get plus 1d.
Accept it.
I feel like I'm leading too much. Sorry, but yeah, I want to do that.
No, I don't feel like that. It's fun.
Okay. So
you've just brought your character into the mission really nicely. It's awesome.
Okay, so Rek, you had 1 dot, and you did the 2 extra bonus die, right?
I did.
Okay, and you still failed hard. Cool. Let's see. What would be interesting here in a risky roll? What is this gas supposed to do to them? Just sort of like get them high, basically?
Yeah, it's a hallucinogenic.
Okay. I like the idea of it putting you into a desperate position, which is like there's like a break in the line, like you've got your equipment hooked up to it, and your line is correct, but theirs is like old and damaged and stuff like that. And you notice as you're programming it that this gas is going to come outside as well as inside and affect perhaps you. And so it will be, you can try to still push it and roll a desperate action to get it done, and possibly take the consequences, and maybe even take, like, you're basically right in front of the tube, about to be taking this stuff directly, versus it being dispersed as particulates in the air and stuff. So I think it could do some trippy stuff to you and maybe even cause some harm, something like that. You're not sure what would happen, but you're going to have to act fast if you want it to get off, and it might affect you. So you haven't lost it, but you can do it desperate. And if you do desperate, you get XP as well.
Okay. So that's another rec roll?
Yeah, and you're in a desperate standard position now.
Desperate standard.
And I don't have another devil's bargain for you, but you're welcome to push yourself more if you like.
Yeah, I feel like that I would definitely be pushing myself.
Feels like it. Yeah. Okay. So you do it, but there's a consequence. I think the consequences when I warned is I think you're like tripping on this stuff, and it's like quite potent. and I think it happens, but you'll take what happens on desperate. You suffer severe harm, serious complication. Serious complication. I think the alarm goes off right before people are about to breach. and you get a little bit high too as well.
I totally am looking forward to Bergen starting to like say weird things through the comm as well when we're like in this coming situation, like some really strange things.
So on camera, we see like you're like shit, right? Like I think you get a little bit high, and like on the camera, things get a little bit fuzzy and stuff, and your palms get a little bit bigger than you thought they were, and stuff like that. And you're kind of like not moving as fast as you think you are because the drug is like slowing you down. And yeah, the alarm goes off, but it still happens, of course. And so let's go to the engagement roll. So
yes.
You're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
Yeah. Start with +1. And I think what that would mean is, well, we'll see what happens with the engagement roll questions and stuff, but for sure it'll increase the heat, right? So is this particular, you start with 1 already, is this particularly bold and daring? I think so. Yes. Is this operation complex or contingent on many factors? I don't think so, luckily. You were talking about that.
I thought it totally was.
I don't think so. Not for an assault plan, right? You're just like, we're just going to hook up a hose, eject them, and then breach, right?
Okay, cool.
I think the longer thing definitely would have been more complex and contingent on other factors, but the root of it is that you can still pull up this plan despite the fact that it could have failed, so it's not contingent on it. Does it expose a vulnerability? Yes, you found that out with your roll, so you get +1d for that. We know that they are weak at that. Are they strongest against this approach? I'm going to say no. Ordinarily, I would say yes, because this is their like quote unquote lair and stuff, but you know where they are. You know that one of them is gone. And so they're not strong in this moment. Can any of your friends help you or provide aid or insight into this operation? And are any of them interfering? I don't think anyone's interfering. Not that I can think of.
I think Envy could definitely help out with figuring out, where best breach point and stuff like that. So I can imagine my spook friend being able to help us out with continued like casing of the joint to figure out, like I say, best point of entry or something, maybe.
Well, they just helped you though, right? Get the other +1d.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so yeah, I can't double up on that. You're right.
Don't double dip. Yeah.
What about our mechanic that we just stole?
Oh yeah, giving you some
like
layout.
Like
intel, this is the best time when they strike. Like maybe you're hitting them at a particular poker game or something.
I like how that guy's turf and a person.
Well, it's hard out there. Other elements that we want to consider. I think I'm going to give you as part of the major thing that just went wrong with the alarm. We'll minus a die, so you'll be back down to 3 instead of 4. And we'll probably have a little bit more heat because of the fictional positioning of the alarm. But I think it's fair that not all is perfect at the moment. So you still have 3D, which is still really good, considering that someone outside is high and hacking them and shit. So who wants to do the engagement roll? It's just a fortune roll with 3D.
Roll it, Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren, you haven't rolled much.
Okay. So roll fortune with 3 dice.
Yep. 4. Okay, so you're in a risky position. I think that makes sense, right?
Totally.
So the thing that's risky about it is, let's see, you breach, you all go in and oh yeah, I know what happened. So you breach, you go in, and ordinarily, well, first let me describe this place too, because we didn't do that much. It's like I'm totally picturing the Fast and Furious house from the first one, where it seems like just a small bungalow with like a garage off the side that's not nearly enough for the right like bike rack. So we get the cognitive dissonance as an audience of kind of it appearing like a 21st century house kind of deal. But then on the sides and within the garage, as the camera's panning around, we get the technological increases, like all those bikes that are super futuristic on racks and stuff like that. And I think a bunch of them have simplistic like red markers on them where they would be charging and are not, only like one or two are. And the house itself, I think, has like floodlights and stuff on it that we saw you like sneak past before, right? And otherwise, yeah, it's not like tiled and shingled like with ours. It doesn't have fancy paint like in the better districts that are actual solar panels. Here in this district, everyone is like refugees and poured and crammed together. So each kind of inch of the house where the mirrors in the city can bounce the light to is where the solar panels are angled from. So they're kind of like at weird, obtuse angles because they know at certain times of the day that's where the sun will strike them, because you're in a city and it's not just like straight up. The better districts are higher up and have panels there that soak it up, and you guys are kind of getting the splintering light around it and the like ghetto light basically. But it's much more futuristic paneling than what we know today, and maybe even can like swivel and move around and stuff like that. And you make your way in. It's like not minimalistic. It's looking quite like again like a 21st century house, except that it's got like pillars protruding up for supporting beams, because the houses are built up from the ground. So everyone would have like a basement, except it's got like multiple levels to it. And yeah, you breach into what I'll say is like a kitchen, and you see like the tables and chairs and stuff like that, all without people there. They are not playing their game anymore. The alarm sounded just in time for them to get up and get moving. So you would sense that they're probably making their way to wherever their weapons are stored, and you have a layout of the house. So we'll say that, like, just for the sake of time's sake, I think you each come upon certain ones. One of them's like dashing outside for the garage, and we like the camera pans and we see like a sawed-off futuristic rifle there, and then underneath the table or something like that, maybe the table just like flips over and somebody's behind it, and there's like a taped weapon there, and it's just like a printed weapon, stuff like that. And then the three other ones are just like it's not a desperate situation, so I'll say that they're like prepared for you. Maybe you see them upstairs and they have like a shot lined up at you, but not whatchamacallit, like you're exposed, but they're not able to. It's not like a shooting in a barrel of fish or whatever, right? So what does everybody do? And outside, your friend is high.
Right. Bergen, I want Bergen to like storm in there, just like running like wildly.
Okay.
I don't think that he realizes that he's high.
Okay. Well, let's let everybody else act first, I think, because you're outside. Maybe you're the one that sees the person running for the garage, though, right? That might be fun. And also, we're at 8:25 too. Do you want that to be the final scene, and then we come back next time, or do you want to quickly try to wrap it up? Might be a little tight, but depends how much time people have.
I'm happy with seeing this as the opening, and we like come back into the action next time. That sounds fun to me.
I think that makes the most sense, so we don't have to like rush this like you know too much. Yeah.
Yeah, so we just see like these people dispersed and the camera showing like one of them running for the garage, two of them up on like a ceiling-ish area looking down at the stairs where like we just see your foot moving as right below is where the kitchen is or something like that. And there's like you can tell that they have just done this. There's still like the thudding of their movements. They're not quite set up. They're just, you know, alarmed from the alarm.
Can we oh sorry, you keep going.
And then the table flops over, right, with the person right in front of you, but everybody else is just like running for guns and stuff.
I was just gonna say, can we have the tiny epilogue thing where we describe like what our characters are, how we're moving into this, like what. Sure. I just wanted to say that Haboob has bought a large weapon with her. She's got a ridiculously large weapon, and so I think she's being the heavy thing, and she's starting to line. What are you guys doing?
I think I'm making like I see the ones that are bolting to their weapons room because we know what the layout is, and I think I kind of instantly just start sprinting after them and pull out, like I smirk and I pull out a Sunjet from my equipment here because that's one of the things I can select here. I'm just like thinking like how they're waiting on Sunjets, and I've kind of just got one that I'm chasing them down with. So I think that'll be my me chasing them down. Mm-hmm. Sunjet drawn is where I'll end.
What about the non-violent pacifist ones? Let's just learn some stuff and make them high, guys.
I can think of this like that Silver like running off, super competent, like ex-military, and then you've got like you have Whisper assistant. They're like, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, and like hopping from like one foot to the other, like in the kitchen.
Sweet.
Uh-oh.
Okay, well let's quickly do XP as well then, because it was a session. Who wants to go first? Let's just go in order, Aaron. Let's do Bergen's stuffs. So you rolled a desperate action, right? Which means that you'd mark the extra in you were modifying, were you?
Yes.
Yeah, so mark an insight tick because you rolled a desperate action for that.
Okay.
And then your other stuff. Did you address a challenge with technical skill or mayhem? Technical skill, yes. I feel. What are people feeling with that? 1 or 2? Probably 1.
I reckon 2 because the attempt at the bee thing as well. That was interesting.
Beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. Did we learn much of Bergen? What do you think? No? Jesse's nodding.
I think so. I think we learned a lot about you just because of your approach to this issue. It wasn't to go storming in. It was to take time and come up with some type of elaborate, roundabout plan. I think that tells us a lot about your beliefs, drives, everything. So yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I think at least 1. And did you struggle with issues of your vice or traumas during the session? People don't have that yet. Y'all are way too careful. Okay, what do you think Silver is next? Oh, and for that XP, remember, Aaron, you can put it wherever you want. So if you're going for that hack one, that's where you could put all your stuffs.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Jesse?
Okay, yeah, so I didn't roll any desperate actions, but then next one is, did I address a challenge with stealth or evasion? And I think with the reconnaissance and stuff that I did ahead of time,
twice,
definitely.
I think, right? Everybody would have gotten it at least 1, and then you did it for your downtime action as well.
Yeah, I think that's a couple.
Yeah.
For that, if that makes sense.
I think so.
What about beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
Well, background, we learned about your contact, right?
Yeah, that definitely. And I mean, I guess just my willingness to almost, go to war in that moment there,
Yeah.
but then
I think we
deciding
found
to-
out about you guys all right, like people's
Yeah.
approaches to it. It
think-
seems like evenly mixed.
Yeah, I think it was a really good session for that. I think we got to see a lot of everyone's approaches and beliefs and kind of where they're coming from. So do you think one or two for that? Do you think?
Probably 2.
Okay.
If people think.
All right, so that's 2.
And vice or trauma.
Nope, didn't struggle with any. I indulged, but that doesn't count as struggling with it. So I guess it's just the 4 there.
Yep.
Cool.
And Lauren, what about folk or whisper? Whisper.
Let's see. I didn't roll anything discipline, don't think.
I don't think so.
Addressing a challenge with knowledge or arcane power. I don't know if I did that either.
Well, it would be arcane power. In this case, it was going to be I don't know if I nailed down exactly what the statement will be, but it's going to be something about like acts of God and stuff like that, right? That's your sort of proprietary knowledge stuff.
Oh, awesome.
But yeah, you didn't really interact with acts of God and stuff, but I think knowledge for sure, right? That was both of your downtime actions. you're like, I want to learn how to cook, and also I want to learn how to make our product better.
By eating it, yeah.
Yeah. We don't kink shame, right? And believed drives heritage or background?
I reckon.
Yeah, I was trying to like, get in there a little bit with like leading on knowledge of the wits and things like that and past travels, and then not being more interested in killing weather than killing people.
And the first thing that you did was reference how you like hated how silver was a tipper, but you need them, right? So
yeah, totally.
Probably another 2 for that. Did you struggle with vice or trauma? Y'all aren't?
No, I was going to, and then I was clever and dressed myself out beforehand.
I tricked you. You should probably push yourself. And what about Haboob?
I didn't roll a desperate action. The address to challenge with violence or coercion, I was pretty strong on wanting to go like mess the people up. Like
that's true.
Like yeah.
Yeah, I think you were definitely pushing for that both times. Like both times you and Silver were like, let's just kill Jocasta, and then the next time when they're like, let's do all these plans, you're like, I feel like killing them maybe.
Yeah.
so 2 for that, I think. And
cool.
Beliefs drives heritage background.
I don't think I really did that this time. No, I don't think so. Maybe there was the stuff with going out and like hiring all the thugs and stuff. Like I kind of feel like that characterized me a bit more as something that she would.
Yeah, well, for one, we saw you being super ruthless, but spending all of your time trying to protect those people in the house. And then also the background angle of you like showing A, that's what you care about, and 2, that like you're straight up a murderess, basically. So
yeah, cool. And no vice or trauma.
Yeah. Cool. So everyone pretty much got 4, I think, right? Something like that. And then let's do crew then. Acquire product, supply, execute clandestine covert sales. Let's see. Or secure new territory. So yeah, a little bit of all of except supply, I guess. You didn't do it with sales, but I think that you're basically securing new tech, like turf, because they'll be gone, right? Like you'll have their things.
And there was kind of the supply stuff with folk cooking up the
like extra
special
Making it
recipe.
better. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Okay, so we'll say 2. Contend with challenges above your station. Yes. They are above your station technically, so probably just 1 XP for that though. Do you guys think that you bolstered your crew's reputation or develop a new one? Do you think yet, or like after you do this thing?
Yeah, I think we're just about to.
Yeah, well, I could see it starting because you also told Jocasta to like fuck off, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'd kind of done that a little bit previously.
All the way, yeah, every time. Yeah.
Well.
Could be reinforcing that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think it is then?
Stubborn is the first thing that came to.
I think that's pretty light.
yeah, I know that, but I mean to build on that, like as a.
Yeah.
How about overly sensitive?
That's what you want your rep to be on the street. What about like wild or reckless or
Takes no
merciless?
I think that's unfair.
Yeah, it sounds like too. Like, do you guys didn't really settle on what your thing, quote unquote, is in the thing, and it might end up like you might just be ending up as the bloodletters, right? Like, you might want to be the show of force sales territory people and take a merciless thing, right? Which is exactly what they did.
I feel like we're just setting up our like, we've got no room to move or relax at the moment, and we've just got to like do a bit of violence to create some space for ourselves to like, sell shit in. Because this is still the direct consequences of us getting the warehouse and stuff in the first place. I mean, I guess we could have been friendlier.
Kind of. You could have just paid them off twice and then heard them and then have like roll with them, right? But sure, yeah, that's just the consequences. So do you want an extra rep thing going on, or
what have we got already?
What was your rep? Yeah, I don't know.
Let me take a look. Say daring is our reputation currently.
That's pretty on point.
Yeah, so we do need a kind of social, like, I kind of aloof is too soft as well, but I'm kind of thinking of that like sticking to our own, like rigid or like something like that. Like,
ruthless.
Yes, standoffish is too soft too, I think, but I had that in my.
Well, from the district's point of view with the underworld, right? What happened was you guys got branded. You told Jocasta to fuck off, and now you're killing them all.
Maybe we're. Yeah, that is pretty scary.
Yeah. So what
did you suggest, Fraser?
Like hard, reckless, merciless. Yeah, something like that. Something hard.
Hard is kind of good because it has that social. I like that it has the rigid thing in it that people come and like, how about you do this like logical thing that's peaceful, and we're like, no, fuck that.
Yeah,
we're doing this other thing.
I'm into hard. What about the rest of you? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So take 1 XP for that. And did you express your goals, drive, inner conflict, essential nature? I think 2 for that, probably.
Cool.
Yeah.
So 1 million XP.
Yeah, roughly 1 million.
Yeah, we're only 1 XP away from the next bonus that we get. So, nice.
Does anyone have any final thoughts before I stop broadcasting?
I'm having fun. It's really fun. I like playing with you guys.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
Yeah. I'll have we'll keep this Roll20 thing going, and maybe next month maybe I'll see if you guys can all join another one, and we'll just keep it going. Hey,
that would be amazing.
Sounds good.
I have one I have one booked Fridays and Saturdays, but I could potentially do Sundays as well. But it doesn't really work for Lauren much, right? Sundays and Lou, like that's your Mondays.
Yeah, but I can do like anytime between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m.
Mondays is my regular Monday during the day is my regular Gauntlet gaming day that I always play Gauntlet games on. Oh. So that works for me really good.
Okay, well, yeah, we can talk about that off the mics or whatever. But yeah, I'd be down to continue
This is my credit card number, and I leave that.
Yeah. Okay, everyone say your address. Just kidding.